Hi, and welcome to the first Splitting the G podcast. My name is Charlie Howe. I'm the COO of Adwanted USA, and I am honored to have our CEO, Heather Smith, here with us today. Heather, welcome.
Well, thanks, Charlie. I'm excited to be here for your very first Splitting a G.
I am very excited. I'm very excited. And we're coming here live from Midtown, New York City at the Madison Lounge on 39th and Madison. Beautiful place. I encourage everyone to come and check it out at your leisure. But we're happy to be here today. We're going to have a little fun, but we're going to have some business questions too. So I wanted to start with Heather, New York City girl, correct?
New York City girl, yep.
I believe one of the 5 boroughs, right?
Yes, one of the 5 boroughs that they call the Bridge and Tunnel borough. It's Staten Island. It's kind of the left out borough.
Staten Island girl. Okay, Staten Island girl.
I'm proud Staten Island girl.
I've only been there a couple of times. I've had their pizza, which is excellent.
Best pizza. Actually, Danino's and Joe and Pat's, two great places. At least Tavern, actually. 3 of them make the list, the New York Times list all the time.
Really? I see. I'm learning something here at Splitting the G. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I've been to Joe and Pat's and Danino's. Very good. Very good. I recommend that place as well.
Downtown locations in the city.
Downtown,
Yep.
After you come here, you go down there, or vice versa, whatever you guys are into. So born and raised,
Yes.
Staten Island.
Yes.
Catholic school, 12 years?
Catholic school, all 12 years, yeah. So I went to Catholic grade school, Catholic high school, and Catholic college.
Catholic college, which is Villanova,
yes,
right?
That
I
is
believe.
correct. Yep.
And some people call it Villanova fun.
Nah,
but you had a good time there.
Yeah.
You had a good time?
Yes.
Greek life?
Greek life, yes. I was a Kappa Gamma KKG.
Kappa. I knew that. My daughter is a KKG.
Yeah.
Shout out. Go KKG. Let's go. Now, interesting fact about Heather, you went to Villanova as a Division I athlete, correct?
I did. Yes, that is true. I was a Division I tennis player.
A tennis player.
Mm-hmm.
Singles, doubles?
Singles.
Singles.
Yes.
Singles?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I think one of the things I always like to ask, athletes, how that helped their career kind of moving forward. Obviously, you didn't become a CEO right out of college, but how did that journey kind of help you into, where you are today?
Well, I think being an athlete in general just helps you with your drive and determination and resilience and just really sticking with things, especially when you have like the ambition to be a D1 athlete and all the pressure that comes with it. It's tough and it makes you quite resilient and makes you want to grow and be better all the time. So I think that pushed me my whole life constantly. Even after I graduated, I kept up with working out. I never stopped. I just always kept up with everything. And it just really pushed me and drove me.
Well, I know you're very competitive. I've played gin rummy with her, and it's the end of the world if I beat her. But you mentioned working out, and I think I've read a lot of articles about CEOs and what their daily schedule is like, and a lot of them get up at 4:30 and they work out and they kind of meditate and they get their day going and figure out. Now I think you beat them. You kind of beat those 4:30 CEOs, right?
Sometimes I do. On Tuesdays, I am actually up at 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
At the gym at 3:30. So,
wow.
Because I travel from Pennsylvania, where I live right now, to New York on every Tuesday, and I'm here through Thursdays usually. But most days I'm up around 4 o'clock at the gym by 4:30 and get a daily workout in. I do meditate. I just started introducing that, which is pretty life-changing, actually.
Really?
It's very calming.
Okay.
So the gym used to always be the piece that calmed me a lot, but the meditation actually really sets my tone for the day. I do it after the gym, believe it or not. So I'm all amped up, but I still kind of like
so that I've heard, I've heard some great things about meditation. It's just like, because you put everything out and you just focus on you, which I think is important because
on your breathing, you tune everything out of your brain.
And I think that's an important thing to do. So, all right, she's a workout fiend, everybody. I know that, having traveled with her plenty.
I don't miss.
You don't miss a day. So let's go back. Let's go back to how you kind of started. Now we worked together at the New York Times.
Yep.
Long time ago. I'm not going to say how many years ago, but it was quite a few, right? Quite a few.
Quite a few.
So tell me a little bit about your career and how you got to be sitting here today with me.
Well, so I always wanted to work for the New York Times. It was my dream as a kid. And my parents, it was funny, growing up, they had me circle words out of the New York Times of what, the words I didn't know. And I'd have to look them up, and it helped me with my SATs and everything. Wall Street Journal, New York Times, all of it. Yep. But I always dreamed to work for the New York Times. And I got my start there as a an intern pretty much in the production department.
Hmm.
And I worked my way up. When I was in the production department, somebody in sales, I was introducing this new production system to the sales teams, and I was presenting in front of all the sales teams. And I wasn't very intimidated. And I had somebody approach me, one of the directors, and they're like, "Why are you not doing this?"
Hmm.
So they gave me the opportunity. And from there, I grew, and I grew throughout the 10 years of my tenure at the New York Times, which I absolutely loved. And then I got pregnant with my son, and 9/11 happened. So we decided to move
Hmm.
to Reading, Pennsylvania, where I dabbled a little bit with different careers. I stayed home with my son for a little bit.
Great.
And then I had my daughter, and I stayed home
Okay.
with her for a month.
Okay.
And I realized I like working. So
Yeah.
I went back to work at Philadelphia Magazine.
Yep.
And then that was a bit of a commute from where I was at in
Hmm.
Pennsylvania. So I switched over. I had a friend who was working at Lamar Advertising. So I got into that.
Which is
So
an out of home
out of home company,
sales, right?
sales
Yep.
company. All of this was media
Yep.
sales.
All
So
media
advertising
advertising.
sales,
Yep.
yep. Really cool at the New York Times. I worked my way up from like the
Yeah.
restaurant group where everybody wanted to feed me, up into up into fashion where nobody wanted to feed me and everybody
That,
wanted to dress me, which was kind of fun.
which having been there with you, that was a big team.
Yeah,
Fashion was a
it's great.
big
It
deal at the
was
time.
great. So Philadelphia Magazine, I was kind of dabbling in that same space as well as real estate. Lamar with the out of home,
Yep.
really interesting. Wasn't my cup of tea. Then I moved to a very small community newspaper. At which point I met this gentleman named David Crawford, who worked for SRDS,
Hmm.
and he was doing a speech one day at a conference, and I approached him and I said, "David, how do you get into this? Like, I want to do what you do. It's great." And he said to me, he's like, "Well, I'll keep you in mind. I'll keep you in mind." Not 2 months later, did he post on Facebook? Became friends with him on Facebook. He posted, and he's like, "We have an opening."
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
and I reached out to him and I interviewed, and I started at SRDS and got my roughly 8 to 9 years in.
That was the first
That
stint.
was the
And
first stint, and then I took a little break.
okay.
We were owned by Cantor Media at the
Yep.
time. Loved it. I was traveling to New York all the time. But
I remember
again,
those
with the
trips.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it was
Yes.
great. We met up a
I do.
couple of times.
Yes.
But with my kids, it was tough because they were
Hmm.
growing up, and I just felt like I was traveling a little too much. So I got into actually leadership coaching and development.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that, because
Yeah,
that's a total 180 from
total.
advertising sales.
Total. So believe it or not, my sister-in-law, she was working with the company and she loved it. She was enamored with it. And she was telling me about all these coaching with leaders that
Hmm.
she was doing, coaching emotional intelligence, personality types, all sorts of different types of assessments. And it really intrigued me. And I thought, you know what, let me give this a try. And I decided to step into that. And
Yeah.
I ended up working with C-suite level people, doing leadership development training large groups, small groups, hosting trainings out in North Carolina. The company was Canadian based, so I was there often. I really enjoyed it and loved it. And I vowed to myself, I'm never going to get back into advertising. This is
Yeah.
wonderful.
I know the feeling.
And then, boom, AdWanted swept in.
Yep.
So one of my old colleagues from there, so AdWanted was purchased SRDS in April 1st of 2020.
2020.
And about 4 months later, I got a phone call from an old colleague of mine who was now over at AdWanted,
Okay.
working with SRDS. And he said, "Hey, we have a director of sales position open, and we would love for you to throw your hat in the ring." So I did.
Yep.
I got the position and I started in September of 2020. And then a few months later, Emmanuel Dubuque, who's the owner of AdWanted,
The global CEO of
yep,
AdWonted.
yep,
Yes.
he approached me and said, "You know what? You're going to be bored with this. I need to put you in as the president of the company,"
So,
and asked
wow.
me about my appetite to
Yep.
do that and if I was willing and to come up with a business plan of kind of how I saw things laid out
Hmm.
and execute it. So I did. And 2 years later, I was appointed the CEO.
Which,
And here I am today.
and here you are today as CEO. I want to go back to your testing uh,
Yeah,
uh, position for a while, and how,
sure.
because you mentioned dealing with C-suite people, and in your role today, how that has kind of helped you with a lot of the challenges that you face on a daily basis in this position.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, like I work with a lot of the emotional intelligence assessments, and
Yep.
some of them were like the 360s, where the employees or the peers, the management peers, will review how they see you and you review yourself. So you do a self assessment to say, this is how I think I behave and how people see me. I'm this assertive, or I'm this
Sure. Yep.
optimistic, or I have this much
I'm a psych
self-awareness.
major. I know these
Yeah.
things. I know these things.
So it was interesting because when I was working with these C-suite people, I would listen to, or look at the results and what they thought of themselves or what they saw really sometimes didn't align with the way others interacted
Ah,
with them. And I
okay.
always, I always kept in the back of my head, wow. And when I spoke to them about the results and how to improve and
Yep.
everything, I always remembered, like, just remember that people may not, the way you think that you are showing up,
Yep.
people may not feel that way. And
Sure.
just, take away those pieces like assertiveness and emotional self-awareness and self-expression and optimism, and really look at these pieces and make sure they align with other people, and be really hyper aware of your audience when you're talking to people, when you're dealing with people, because it's a people business, really, and you want to make sure that you're being sensitive. You're also, not being a pushover, I guess, or whatever,
Yep.
but
No, no, totally.
you're being sensitive to what the people need, and you keep people first, but don't lose sense of who you are. If you have strong optimism, keep that. But
Yep.
there are other pieces that you may need to work on, like your emotional self-awareness. You might not be aware that somebody
Yep.
is having a bad day or having a bad time, but just keep, always keeping in mind the other people, has helped me grow and build, because I've always kept that in the background, and I've always kind of used the coaching pieces throughout
No,
my
and
career.
and not to toot your horn here, but you're good at it because
Thank you.
everybody's got a different. Everybody needs to be motivated differently.
Right.
Whether it's a salesperson, whether it's a product manager, whether it's a marketing person, right?
Right.
Everybody has different touch points that kind of help them get through whatever that project is, or just get through the day
Yeah.
sometimes. And you do a good
Definitely.
job at that because
Thank you.
everybody's different, and we're not up. We've got 20 people working for us, guys. So it's a small company,
Yep.
but everybody's got their own
Oh yeah.
things and their own personality, and we're all a big team at the end of the day.
Exactly. And you just want to make sure that the team is all working well together. And
Yep.
if somebody's struggling, be aware of it and don't ignore it. Like, that's one of the most important pieces
So
that
let's
I
get
think.
back to SRDS a little bit.
Sure.
Now, for those of you who don't know, SRDS is
Standard rate and data service. Basically, we are a discovery tool for media buyers and planners. They come to us when they are looking, for advertising opportunities for their clients. Typically, we work with a lot of advertising agencies, and they'll use our data to create media plans. So, for our audience, if you're looking at TV ads and
yep.
newspaper ads and digital ads that you get on your phone, that's us. We
That's
help we
us.
help them discover all that information.
And for our older viewers, you may remember it was like an
Oh yeah,
encyclopedia back in the 80s and 90s when I started in the
yeah,
advertising business. And we would use those. They were a huge tool resource for us in the media planning world. Obviously, it's changed now. It's all digital.
everything. Yep.
So let's talk a little bit more about AdWanted taking over in 2020. Obviously, within 6 months, you're in this big role. You're dealing with everything going on. So it kind of explained to everybody, like, okay, where we were then,
Mhm.
maybe where we are today, and where you see us down the road here, 2 3
Sure.
years from now.
Let's see. When I started back in 2020, and I started in the sales position, it was different. And then getting to be the president, there were a lot of challenges when it came to the integration of the company, because there were a lot of folks that were previous
Mm-hmm.
SRDS employees, and then there were a handful of new AdWanted SRDS employees. So that integration was a challenge in and of itself, because there was an old school mindset and a new school
Sure.
mindset. So
Yep.
that was quite interesting. The business as it stood really wasn't going through a lot of influx and change. It was SRDS at the
Yep.
time. So it was mainly SRDS, the product, and it was, doing very well, and agencies and universities and our advertisers were advertising, and everybody was
Yep.
subscribing. Then as it evolved over the years, I was challenged actually with helping come up with a strategy to transition a little bit to software.
Mm-hmm.
So we have products in France and UK. We're French owned. AdWanted is a French company, and we were challenged with bringing a number of products that we identified that could potentially work here in the US. One of them was AdWone, and actually we are still in the throes of launching it, but we soft introduced it to a number of
Mm-hmm.
agencies. We really went out to the market and said, "Hey, is this something that would work here? What would we have to do to make it better, to make it work here?" And throughout the years, we've been evolving that and
Okay.
working with those products, and really identifying many different products. So we actually looked at the UK and looked at some of their products like Audio Track and Jet and Media Pilot in France, just trying to see like what would work in the US and what would be the best thing to bring here. So we really landed on AdWone, which we're making great strides with at this point. So now we're transitioning into another stage.
Yep.
We still have SRDS as our core product, which is being used by almost every agency. And then we now introduced AdWone. So we are really now transitioning to a software focused with a data enhancement service with software platforms. And the SRDS data is currently a database that can be accessed by our agencies. They can access that, or they can access that plus AdWone. So we're building out a one platform that's going to change the whole landscape to be unfragmented, which is a big, huge
It's a
challenge
big
with the
word.
workflow. There's so many things out there that
Yes.
these agencies use, and it's, they've got this system and that system and that
Yep.
system, and we want to solve that problem. And we know the starting point is with SRDS, and we're rebuilding it with SRDS1 that's coming, and AdOne, and integrating those two, kind of a perfect world mashup. But if somebody just wanted to use SRDS, they could. If somebody just wanted to use AdOne, they could, or we can get it together. And then we have two other products that we're looking to bring to the US, AdMonitor and Medialand. One's a audience planning, reach or frequency, and the other is a competitive media spend. So really, we have evolved tremendously
That is
from just being a data company.
exactly. Now I came in March of 21, so I've been here a little over 5 years, and just the change that I've seen here in 5 years, I know you've done a lot of work on that.
Yes.
But we've also had to keep up with the Joneses, if you will,
Yep.
and kind of change our business model a little bit to kind of keep up with the times. So we're keeping up with the Joneses, and we're keeping up with the times. We got a lot. We got a lot to do, but it's a challenge, but we're doing it, and we've got a great team, not only here in the States, but in France and UK that's helping us out. So,
and also the evolution of SRDS, we now have connected TV data in there. We have podcast data. We're constantly adding and building and adding. And we've had clients come to us and ask, can you help support this type of a project? Can you help us build out a digital warehouse repository? Can you help us build out, data for X, Y, and Z, or custom information and data and systems and tech? So it's really hugely evolved.
There's a lot going on, and there's going to be a lot more that I'll probably have you back in a year, and we're going to talk about all the good stuff that we've done.
You have me back in a month, I'm sure.
Yeah, in a month, 6 weeks. She might be my only guest after today. Who knows? But we're excited about what's going to happen. But all right, so this concludes the business portion of splitting the G.
Okay.
So now what we're going to do is we are going to split the G. Now, for those of you who don't know what splitting the G is, splitting the G is a social phenomenon with Guinness beer. Now, what we have to do is I have to take one gulp and get down to the Guinness logo here with one gulp. And Heather has to do the same. Now, for some reason, mine has not shrunk as much as Heather's has.
Thank the Lord.
But it's all good stuff. So before we get into the fun aspect of this podcast, why don't we split the G, Heather?
Oh, God, I'm nervous. Okay.
Here we go.
Oh, God.
Here we go. Cheers.
Cheers. I'm terrible.
I didn't do too bad. I used to be able to do that a while when I was younger, but I can't do that much anymore. So anyway, that's splitting the G. We failed. We do another take, we'll fail again, and we'll fail again. And then we'll be on the floor probably for the 5th or 6th take. So we're going to move on to the fun question time. So this is where
let's go.
We're just going to get to know Heather a little better.
Oh, boy.
These are kind of fun questions that I like to ask people just in conversational tone. So Heather, let's go here. Do you call it soda or pop?
Soda.
Soda, okay.
Pop. Well,
Pop is
Midwestern.
Well, I'm a Western New York guy.
Okay.
I call it pop. Is it a submarine sandwich or a hoagie?
Oof. So this is where I kind of toe the line. And the reason being is Staten Island, you call it a sub or a hero.
Yeah, or hero. Hero, yes.
Hero, I'm going to get shot if somebody hears me say sub. But hoagie is what everybody calls it in Pennsylvania. So when I say hero in Pennsylvania, nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Nobody knows what that is. Interesting. Everything is so regional here. It's crazy.
Wow.
What about this one? Frosting or icing?
I think it depends. I don't know. Like I don't,
Okay.
I'm not.
Well, do you?
I'm a big cook. I don't like
Yes,
to
you are a
bake.
bit. She's a very good cook, by the way.
Well, thank you. But I'm not a huge
You're not a
baker.
baker.
So I guess I would call it frosting.
Frosting.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, because you
Yeah.
would frost the cupcakes,
I would
or
frost
do
the
I
cupcakes.
ice the
No, I
cupcakes?
frost them.
Frost them.
Yeah.
Okay. What about this? A traffic circle or a roundabout?
The traffic circle.
Traffic circle.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Roundabout's very
Okay.
British, I think.
Okay, there we go. All right, let's go into the first car. What's the first car that you ever bought?
So, that I bought or owned?
You
Well,
bought,
I
leased,
should say owned.
owned.
So my parents bought me a Mercury Cougar.
Ooh, a Cougar.
And I did kick in a little bit of money, but my first car that I actually physically bought was my dream car, which was a Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo.
That's
Loved
a nice
it.
car.
Loved it.
Nice car. Okay, I like
And
that very much.
I leased it because I didn't drive that much.
Okay.
And it was kind of silly because, no equity, but whatever.
Okay, that's
went with
okay.
I like that
You were
route.
young. You were getting that Jeep.
I was
You
zealous.
were going to do it.
Yes.
First concert you ever went to?
Tom Petty.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, one of his first ones. They had a tree. I remember the tree. There was
The tree.
Yeah,
The
and I
tree
forget-
was the main
was
part
the
of the.
main part of. And
Interesting.
it's a very famous. I forget.
I'm sure one of our viewers will come. Please comment if you know what that is. I'm not sure what she's talking about, but I'm sure somebody does. How about your last concert you went to?
Oh God, Zach Bryan.
I figured
I saw him 5 times in one year.
Was that the one in Copenhagen?
That was the one in Copenhagen.
She went to Copenhagen to see Zach Bryan, people. That's
and
a fan.
Dublin and Ann Arbor.
That's a fan.
Life.
Okay, what was your first job ever? Like that you first got paid for?
Ever.
Yeah.
Lauderdale Golf Course on Staten Island. Loved that job.
Nice.
Yes. So I started in the pro shop, then I went to the snack bar, and then did a little bartending. Then I was a snack car driver, like the.
And that's how you kind of learned to play golf. She's a very good golfer too.
Actually, my dad taught me when I was 8.
Oh, okay, so she's good. So it all comes together.
Oh, yeah.
I understand this.
Yeah. Apparently.
What about? So was the New York Times your first job out of college?
It was.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
My dream job was my first job.
Okay. I'm gonna hit you with a couple more here. Favorite word?
I have many.
Okay, give me the top 5 or 3.
Flabbergasted.
Flabbergasted. Okay.
Kerfuddled.
Kerfuddled. I like that one.
Facetious.
Facetious. Love that one. Can you spell that?
Facetious.
I think that's correct. Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. She's right.
And if it's not, oh no.
That's right. That's it.
And then one of my favorite words that my dad always uses is dank.
Dank. D-A-N-K.
D-A-N-K. That means like damp, moist.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I think my mother used to say that.
Always. And so I use it, and everybody's
Dank.
like, "What is dank?" But dank is a word.
Dank.
Yeah.
I like dank.
I would say that's my all-time favorite word.
All right. What about your least favorite word?
Moist, and I think most viewers would relate to that. It's
Interesting.
just an ick word.
Yeah, it's kind of nasty, right?
Yeah.
Moist.
It's not a good word.
But can a cake be moist though? Is that?
But that's not bad saying that. But actually, people when they say it like moist, and it's like terrible.
So, and my final question is: we just celebrated the 250th birthday of the USA.
Okay.
Okay. So, my question is: if you could go back and live in America during any time period, whether it's the Gilded Age, the Roaring '20s, the '50s, when would it be and why? And keep in mind, you could tell me, hey, I'm very happy with the time frame that I grew up in.
The 80s.
The 80s.
That's an easy one. Yep.
The 80s, which you were kind of on the.
Yeah.
You were there.
Do I need to?
You were there.
I don't even figure out my age.
The 80s were great.
I was there.
80s were great.
80s were great. Love the music.
Music's great.
The music was fantastic. You know what I liked too? It was simpler. There was no social media. There was no pressure.
It was more of an innocent time, right?
A little bit innocent.
We didn't have to. You didn't have your phone, and if you were trying to meet somebody at a
you
bar,
had a phone with a cord.
Yeah.
And like you'd have to wait.
I remember I used to have to.
Waiting.
I used to have to change my voicemail if I would call my phone, change my voicemail, and say, "Hey, we're not at Peach Saloon anymore. We went over to Old Town." Because that's the only way you could get a hold of anybody.
It's so true.
And I would tell them, listen, if I'm not there, call my voicemail and I'll leave a message.
And I'll tell you when I'm going to be. That's smart. Smart.
All right, well, listen, this is it for our first edition of Splitting the G. I've had a great time. Have you had fun?
I've had a great time. This has been fun.
I want to thank Jerry and Morris here at the Madison Lounge. We've had a great time. They've been so hospitable. Please come down and see them here.
Hopefully we'll split the G.
Yeah, hopefully. Try to split the G at Madison Lounge or Mulligan's, which is downstairs. But thank you guys for watching and listening. We hope to do it again soon. If anybody's interested, please DM me. I'd love to have you as a guest. But you know what, Heather? As I always say, it's nice to be important.
Yeah, but it's more important to be nice.
That's it, people. Thank you.